Hello everybody, and welcome back to Rose Lane. I'm here with this video to do a final flip through of all the bits and parts and pieces of this second accordion journal that we did, mostly together. And after I'm done with the flip through here, I'm going to work on showing you how to do these stems or vines, the little leaves, this type of flower, and the little rosebuds that we had on this journal. Just going to be short. I'm not going to do a whole piece. I'm just going to do a little bit of the stem and then show you how to put the flowers, how to stitch and put the flowers together. So without further ado, we're going to get started because I'm going to try not to make this too long. So here we go. So we've got a 6x6 accordion journal. This is the spine. What I did here with the ribbon is I looped it. Let me show you for instance, like this, put it this way, and then wrapped it around the back, and then I bring it through the loop, and then I tie it. So it's secured here under the lace, it's secured here under the topper, but I did not completely glue this down. If you can see my bone folder, I left a space, and this is not glued down. So if I need to pull this tighter, if I want to make that accordion tighter, I can. So it didn't get glued down. Now I moved it, and I don't know if I'm in frame. I am enough. I'm kind of close tonight because I don't want to play with the camera if I don't have to. But I want to be a little closer to my hands when I'm working on the flowers, so you can see a little bit better what I'm doing without me having to move my hands up and down and maybe possibly going out of focus. So what we did here, in the last video you saw what I did with the wings, how I did the wings on vellum, and we used Wink of Stella on there. How if I wiggle it a little bit, you may be able to see that the insects are kind of shiny, a little sparkly. There's a little bit of, this is raised, the bodies on the dragonflies are raised. So anyway, and then I did the fuchsia type flowers on here. So I'm going to open this up. The back was just plain, as you can see. A little bit of gold on that, but that's okay. And I'm going to just untie this, and you can see that that's what I did. I just looped it through, and that's the tie for that. So let me push this over this way. I'm hoping. Let me just make sure. Yes, you can see the whole thing. Okay. So we have a vellum pocket here. I left that undecorated. And here I have two tags. That is from this paper, the background paper, and this is from Artie Mae's Dragonfly Dreams. Just coffee dyed paper on the back, a little bit of lace tab on the top, and then there were these tags that went in here. These are Tracy's random number labels and little cheesecloth, little sari silk, and these images are from Kelly's Crafts by Kelly. Her Thistles and Wings is her kit. So that's what's on here, and then the background papers and the pages are from the Tattered and Worn. So just put that back in there. Then we have some butterflies here, a pocket here. This is from Tracy's Trifold Bug Kit or something like that. So it's listed below in the description box. Again, this was elastic, so this paper could come out. You can put a new pad in if you wanted to, and then a couple little tags in there as well. And like I said, for the most part, I duplicated the things that we had in here so that you could see some of the less common, not complicated, but less common pieces that I did. So that was that piece. This piece here, like the other one, folds out. All this journaling space. We have a tuck spot here and another tag, and then this opens up for more journaling space as well. And that goes back together I'm trying not to get too close to the camera. Like this, that tucks back behind here, and then this closes, and I'll put this on later. Over here, oh, and by the way, these paper clips that I'm using they look kind of bronzy or brownish color. They're actually coated paper clips. They're coated with vinyl, so they're a little bit softer, less likely to tear the pages, and they look a little older without the color coming off on your hand. So we have a Dragonfly Dream envelope here with a matching little, it was really just a folding tag. Well, it wasn't exactly. I made it a folding tag and put some coffee dye paper in there as well, and some washi tape here on the side. I made this envelope out of the paper. This is one, I believe, of Artie Maze's butterflies, which I used diamond glaze on, and of course some Wink of Stella. There's a little cheesecloth, a word, and a little flower that I just inked up a little bit. And in here, there's a small little notepad, just a few pages of paper, coffee dye paper in there. So I'll put that back in there if I can. I'll just clip that back on. I don't want to make too much of a mess because I'm going to need the top of the table to show you how to do the flowers. So this is the back of the envelope on the next page. So we have a tag here with some lace and some ribbon and the envelope, and then in here I just folded a piece of paper, a long piece of coffee dyed paper, and put that in the envelope. So that goes back over the page, and the tag goes back on top of that, and that's just clipped there. And then we have a couple of dragonflies fussy cut out and put on here. It's a little cluster with a little bit of sari silk, some of the ribbon, a little bit of lace, and this very like small thin mother of pearl button. There's a butterfly up here, and then two tags in these pockets here. Come on, there we go. And then on this page was the muslin pocket, which you saw me do, and the little cluster with Artie Maze's little number, and I used the glossy accents on this. And then we braided some of the ribbon, and up here we have, well, you know what, I'm going to take it all out so you can see the pocket underneath. We made this pocket here. This is a postcard from Dragonfly Dreams from Artie Maze that I made, and that goes in this pocket, the top pocket here, and then a small card. And again, this is one of Artie Maze's words. This one says magical. Again, this is just the diamond glaze on here, and that goes there. Then I have a fold out card, journaling card, and these are from, along with this is all from Kelly's Crafts by Kelly, the Thistles and Wings. This is from Artie Maze. This is background paper from the Tattered and Worn, and an Artie Maze fold over tag. So did it a little differently. Instead of making it just a tag with this color on the back, I wanted the border, but instead I made it this tiny little kind of booklet thing. So, and that I have in there. And then I have these cards, which I found this opalescent paper. So I used that. So they're also fold out tags or fold out journaling cards. So it wasn't just the back, but also the inside. And yes, I have glue on my fingers. I apologize because I have been working. And then I showed you this as well. This was Angela's, one of Angela's exciting envelopes. I said it was either 13 or 15. I think it's 15, which I had in the other one as well. And I showed you this, I believe, in the last video as we were making some of the things. Here was that fold over tag. I just took two tags, some muslin, some lace, and a little bit of ribbon that I sort of just tied in a knot in there. And then I secured it with a paper clip. And then a paper clip over here on this. Oops, why am I stuck? There we go. Okay. And these tags they're attached to the page and they just flip out like that. And this did not catch on this side, so let me try to get that to catch. I'm trying to go quickly. All right, we'll put it on that side. Okay, and paper clip for this. And then we're at the back page. So what I did here was I had the bullnose clip on here, but because this trifold I did not use with cardstock, it was kind of denting the top a little bit and I didn't like it. So I decided to take the clip off and put a pocket on instead. So I made this sort of gusseted pocket. This is out of Artie Mae's. I believe it comes from the Dragonfly Dreams as well. These two pockets and these tags are also Artie Mae's Dragonfly Dreams. And I just put a little bit of this old muslin-y, silky looking kind of stuff on it. And I believe this ribbon comes completely off, and this was the book that we made here in one of the earlier videos with some tags. So you can fold it this way, or you can fold it with just the papers in like that and fold it closed that way. However you choose, this is how I chose to do it. So, and then the ribbon goes back on it like this. But for right now, I'm just going to take it and put it back in here. And I will come back and I'll tie that later. So that's the one that you worked with me on as we went through this. And so that was that complete. So now I'm just going to take a few minutes. And for me, what I do to tie this back, I just fold the ribbon back over instead of playing with the ends. I just fold it over a little bit, if I can grab it together. And then I just stick it through the loop here. I don't knot it. I just tie it. And that's all there is to that. And that keeps it closed. So that was the journal you worked on me with, the journal that people were asking how I made the accordion piece and how I did some of the flowers. So we're going to move on to the flowers now. So we're going to move this to the back. Actually, let me just put them over here because I'm going to pull them forward. Okay, so what I did, and this probably isn't good, so let me see. All right, let's try this. Because no, that's going to reflect. We don't want that. All right, how about, I don't know. Here we go. How about that? That should work. I think, yeah. Let's take this out. I didn't realize how close in color this was to that. So I'm assuming now, yeah, I think you can see that better. Okay, so what we're going to do is this. I'm going to start with the, I don't know if that's in frame. I'm going to start with doing this, show you how to do little leaves, and then I'll show you how to make each one of the flowers, and I'll just make one of each probably and just put that down on here. So hopefully this will stay a little sturdy for me. So this is what you do. Oh my goodness, all this glue. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the ribbon, and you can do one of two things. You can either put this into a wide needle. Let me see. Pull one of these, get rid of this stuff. If I can get it out. And if you can get it through, this needle isn't quite wide enough, but you can put it through a needle like this and then thread it up through the bottom. Or what I try to do where I start is to leave a little tail, I guess. And then I use that tail to wrap around the first flower. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to leave a little bit hanging off the end. I'm going to grab matching, maybe shouldn't do this with matching ribbon or matching thread. I'm wondering. Well, I'm gonna try to do it with the matching thread, and hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing. So I knotted it more or less. You don't have to. And what you do is leave a little tail and then just start to twist it. And that's really what you're going to do. You're going to twist the ribbon and come up through. Now this stuff has holes like pre-done in it, and I just sort of get an idea about where I want to go around the piece, or maybe just do it as I go. It really doesn't matter. You can draw it out. Just try to stay on the line so you won't, because trying to erase on this would be ridiculous. So what I'm going to do is I brought this up, if you can see, through the fabric, and then I'm going to go on the other side of the ribbon, and I'm just kind of pushing it out of the way so you can see. There's the thread. I'm going to bring it down very close on the other side, and I want to trap that ribbon in there. Normally I wouldn't move the, I'm pulling the knot instead of the thing. Normally I wouldn't move the ribbon to do that, but I wanted you to see that the closer you are to the ribbon from one side to the other, when you cross the thread over, this just came out because of how I did it, the tighter that pull is going to be. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to go basically in the same place. I'm hoping my fingers are not, my thumb doesn't get in the way. And I'm just going to secure that with a few stitches. Okay, just do it about 3 times and secure it. And I've got a knot in there, so let me just put that through. Somehow I brought it through the other side. Okay. And then you're just, let me put this to the side. You're just going to twist. You can twist around your finger a little bit. You can roll it between your fingers. You can make it a little looser, depending on how thick or thin you might want it. So you just roll it. You just twist it. And then what I'm doing here is called a couching stitch. If you're not familiar with some of the stitches in embroidery, and all that means is I'm just tacking something down across the top of a piece of fabric. So I'm coming up one side and I'm going down the other side. And if your thread matches really, really well, this is a very heavy thread, but if your thread matches really, really well, you won't see it. So if you go, you know, a little slanty, it doesn't have to be perfectly straight across. You can go down a little bit. You just want it tight. You want it snug. So we're just going to do a little bit of this. So I'm going to twist some more and twist some more. And I think I'm just going to do a couple more stitches, and then I'm going to show you how to do a leaf. And all that is, I think I'll just stop it here because I would have to twist this a little tighter anyway. All that is I untwist it. I make it a little looser. And then I just make a little puff. I come up one side and I push this over. I hope you can see that. And I just go down on the other side. And then I pull that tight. And that makes what looks like a little leaf. So we're going to tack that down a couple of times, like we tacked down the original piece at the beginning. It's a little thicker, so you want it to stay good and secure. And then from here, you're just going to twist again. And I've been kind of going in a straight line, so let's sort of just go some other way a little bit. Okay? So we have that. So you're going to come up one side. You're going to go down on the other side. Come up one side. I'm going I've kind of moved it so that it's curved a little bit. So you can see there's nothing really difficult. It's just twisting it and then sort of pushing it down into place where you want it to go. So we have that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just do this just a little bit more so I have it in place. And I'm going to leave a tail like this on the other end so that I can put one flower on one end and one flower on the other end. And show you what I do. I make the flowers and then I just put a dot of Fabri-Tac on them, and I glue them in, and I glue the little piece over this. I'll trim back. I glue the little piece over it and just kind of hold it for a minute. You can use tip of your scissors. I have tweezers sometimes that I might hold it down with, the end of the craft knife, something like that. So right now all I'm doing here is I'm going over it in the same place pretty much just to secure it, because I'm going to knot this on the other side. And that's just, I'm just running it through. And again, I'm using the stiff cloth. If you can get your hands on that, it's probably better. Otherwise, you would probably want to use a embroidery hoop to do this, just to hold it in place and keep it from moving around a lot. If it's a small piece, you probably don't want to bother. Nothing bigger than this is probably okay. You wouldn't really need to bother to do that. But especially if it's like this, it's already kind of, it comes with an even weave and sort of holes, so it makes it a little bit easier for what you're doing. So I'm just going to snip this. It doesn't matter where at this point. And you can see you've got the stem, you've got a leaf, we've got two ends. So what I'm going to start with is the easier flower. I can find the end of this, and I happen to use my crinkly ribbon because that's what I had, and it happened to be crinkly, and that was the color I wanted. So that was the one I decided to use. So I'm just going to trim the end off of here to get rid of this fraying bit. And all I did was I rolled it. I'm hoping that you'll be able to see this. I just took it and just sort of rolled it, is all I did. Just rolled it. Kept it kind of tight near the base, a little more open at the top. And then I just took the needle and thread, and it doesn't matter what color this is because it's going to be hidden inside. See, I did it again, but that's okay. I'll do a little something to tie it off here. Alrighty, make it a little knot. Alright, I'm going to trim this ribbon. And again, it doesn't really, you know, a little bit over or whatever. Oh, look at that. I had it come out. It's all right because I haven't done anything to it yet. All I did was put a little bit of thread on it. So that sort of looks like a rosebud that's starting to open. I'm just going to squeeze the top. I'm going to take this thread and I'm going to wrap it around the bottom a few times, again, to pull it tight. And then I'm just going to take the needle and thread and go through it again and knot it off. I'm going to get rid of these extra ends here, because right now I've got this thread doubled, not that it really matters. So, and that's all I'm going to do there. Get that out of the way. So I'm going to cut that off. Hold it good and tight, cut that off, and now you've got something that looks a little like a rosebud. You can make them tighter, you know, to make them a little bit tighter or smaller. You can make them a little more open like this, either way. So let me get rid of these little guys. Come in. Okay. So we'll do that one down here since we have a smaller spot. So I'm just going to unravel this, or unroll this little end from where I've twisted it. And what I want to do I've kind of got it unrolled. What I want to do is I want to cut this on a little bit of an angle and leave myself enough that's going to cover the flower. I'm going to take my Fabri-Tac. I'm going to decide which part of the flower I want up, which I think I want this part up. So that's going to be the back. I'm going to put a little bit of Fabri-Tac here and get my tweezers so I can open this up. And you can see it sort of looks, maybe you can see, it sort of looks like two pointy petals. I'm going to lay my flower inside one, push it down, and then I'm going to bring this piece up and over. If I can get it to cooperate with me. And put a little Fabri-Tac on there. And if for some reason the flower's too big, or the piece of ribbon here just seems too small, you can always take another little piece of ribbon and you can put it over the top. So I just sort of push it in, push it down, and you have to hold it for a minute because of the Fabri-Tac having to dry. And don't worry if the flower goes flat, because you can always pick it up again. And basically, let me pull that down. That is all there is to that. And that makes your rosebud. Now over here, this one is just a little bit more complicated. Let me put that on that side. Not too much. It involves a little bit of sewing, and we're going to do this flower now. Okay. And what we're going to do first is I have some embroidery floss here, kind of this golden yellow color. I just put a knot in that end. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make, oh, I don't know, what is that, maybe about 1.5 inches. I'm just going to go back and forth on itself a little bit. Okay? And I'm going to cut that off. And for the moment, I'm just going to leave that to the side. Just that one piece. I'll get rid of that. Okay, there we go. All right, now this one, to make the flower, actually, I think I have, let me get this, I'll use the darker color. I'm going to get rid of these guys out of the way here. Okay. To make this flower, I cut a piece of ribbon about 3 inches. So let me just even off this end a little bit. And then I'm going to cut it about 3 inches. If you cut it, I wouldn't go too much smaller than maybe about 2 1/4 inches if you're using the seam binding, which is what I'm using for this stuff. Because it just gets a little too tiny to hold on to. But 2 1/4 if you wanted a smaller flower, and I would say maybe about 3 inches if you want one of the larger flowers. So I'm just kind of eyeballing this right now. I'm not going to worry about that too much. I do have thread that matches, but you know, I think I'm going to do it with the green. Because again, if I do it well enough, you shouldn't see the green thread once we're done, once the flower's finished. So what we're going to do is we're going to take first these little fellas, and we're going to attach them into the ribbon. And this ribbon does want to fray, so it's going to look a little sloppy, but again, you're going to sort of just tack it on. You're going to couch it by going under, back under the threads. Oops, I want to get all of them. Back under the threads again, and it does not have to be beautifully perfect. This is all going to be covered. Let me try to get those back inside my little loop here. Come on. I think they're in, or mostly in. Let's just make sure. I'm going to grab the needle underneath it, and that's okay because I can put it back in. I haven't done it yet. This is just, I haven't pulled it yet. This is just to tack these in place because these become your stamens when you're done. So I'm going to go back over because that guy didn't get caught in. Now you can see why I only have like 5 flowers on the cover. But something like this, if you have the patience for it, is easily done, you know, while you're sitting just, why does this keep nodding? Is easily done while you're sitting just doing some stuff, you know, maybe watching television or having conversations with your family or whatever it might be. You can sit and do these things. So I'm just going to do one more, and that's good enough. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to fold this over, and I'm hoping you can see that. I fold it over maybe about 3/16 of an inch, and I'm going to put that down like that and leave these guys sort of there. And if they're loose, it's okay. It's easily fixed. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up underneath here. I'm going to try to get the stamens to stay on the one side if I cannot pull them out. Okay, I'm going to come up underneath here, and then I'm just going to do a running stitch towards, this is sort of in the middle. I'm going to go like a diamond towards this side, then from here to this side, from here to this side, and then back. So we're just, that's okay. I know that came out. That's all right. That's why God made glue. Okay. So you're just going to do a little running stitch. Now, if you come out, and it may vary depending on the length of your stitches, it doesn't matter because we're pulling this to gather it. So I'm just going to pull this through. If you can see, I came out on top. What I want to do is go underneath and come up alongside that green ribbon. So it's going to go over the side of the fabric. Can you see that? We're not pulling anything tight yet. Okay, so let's get that little guy back in here. And then we're going to continue to do our running stitch more or less on a diagonal. Now let's see, I came out on top there, right? So let's see if I can come out on the bottom here. I'll just make a slightly smaller stitch. So you can see that on this part, I came out on the bottom of the fabric. We're going to do the same thing in reverse. We're going to come over the top next to the last stitch, heading on that diagonal. And then we're going to do our running stitch towards the middle here. And there I came out on the bottom. Pull my other piece out here. There we go. So if I came out on the bottom, I'm going to go over the top. Okay. And then continue that running stitch towards the other point. Now here I'm on the bottom again, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back, whoops, I'm going to go back over the top. I want to go past that knot, okay, and I'm just going to bring it down there. So now what I'm going to do is try to get my little fellas back in here so that they're all gathered in when I gather this closed. And this does not have to be perfect lengths or anything like that because we're going to trim them. So hold on to it, and then we're going to pull. And you're going to pull it, pull it, pull it, pull it, pull it, until it makes a little kind of a bonnet. Okay, again, like we did on the other, you're going to go around it a few times, grab the needle to secure it, and I'm going to go in about 3 places. So I'm putting it through and I'll make a knot. I'm going to turn it a little bit, pull it through again, put it through, make the knot, and then I'm going to turn it one more time, put it through, and make the knot. Okay, and I'm going to knot this one off just one more time. When I do this one, try to make this a little even. When I do this one, I'm going to wrap this around twice. Try to make it big enough so you can see. I want it open so you can see what I'm doing. And it's not going to cooperate. I'm going to go once and then twice. Once, if I can get it to stay. Once and twice. And then pull that. Okay? And then that gets trimmed. All right, that's all we're going to need for that. And these little guys, you're just going to snip the circle, and you're going to leave one kind of long. This one should be over here. And I'll do one short and then one somewhere between the two, if I can get it to go. And that makes your stamens. Okay? So then what we're going to do here is we're going to unfold this a little bit. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to cut up on an angle. I want this one to be a little bit bigger so I have a little bit more to play with, because this is a fatter flower. And this one, I want to sort of make it look like it's coming and hanging. So I'm going to position it into the thing this way and make it curve down. So pick the side that you want to show up. I think I like that side best. So that's the side I want to see. I'm going to put some Fabri-Tac on here all the way around, just on this knotty part. Okay, whoops, knocked my thread over. All right, and then I'm going to take this, I hope I'm in frame here. I'm going to push this way because I want it to go. And then I'm just going to bring it around like this. Where's my tweezers? And just hold it in place until it sets. Which a Fabri-Tac will set, you know, in maybe about 20 or 30 seconds or so. At least enough for you to walk away from it. And if you don't like that, you can trim it off or you can leave it, however you want to do it. So that's basically how you do the flowers. I'm trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to show you. Oh yeah. Here I made little buds out of this fabric. So instead of, I didn't want it to look like a rosebud that was opening. So what I did was I took the seam binding and I folded it. And one thing I don't know if this is going to make any difference or not. When I folded it down, I had trouble making it tie in a knot. So I folded it up. I think that's what I did. So I just took a little bit and then I wrapped it around my finger. I pushed it through. I knotted it. And then I did it again. I'm hoping I have enough of a tail here to do it this time. So you know what, this is just, and to save time, we're going to do it long. So I folded it in half, and if you have a narrower ribbon, it probably wouldn't make any difference. And it doesn't have to be perfectly in half. You wrap it around, you push it through, make that knot, and then I did it again, okay? I wrapped it around, pushed it through, and then try to bring the knot up right underneath it. So what I did was I did it like this, and then played with it a little bit and just did that. And then all I did again, which let me knot this just so that it's a little easier for me to not pull it through the ribbon. So then all I did, and again, I used thread that matched, but it serves its purpose here so that you can see it. I just pulled it through, wrapped it around a few times, and tacked it down again. So, and I'm not knotting this many times because I don't want to keep you too long. So, and that's it. Then you snip it off. And if you want to make it a little bit darker, what I did was I had these Pro markers. My buds are just a little bit darker than the flower, so all I did was just press that. And you can do it all over, you can do it just randomly. I sort of did it randomly, so it looked a little bit different. And then you do the same thing. You would make a little, if you don't have a little thing to put it in because it's somewhere along in the middle that you want it, you can take a piece that's left over like this. You can wrap it around it like this, put a little glue on it, wrap it around like this, and then you can just sort of squeeze it down, and then you glue it wherever it is you want it along your vine. So basically that was a very quick tutorial. You can play with these things and kind of come up with your own ideas. But that's basically what I did to make the rosebuds and to make these little fuchsia flowers. So that's it. I think we're done for the night. I'm hoping this wasn't too long. And that'll do it for this time. So I hope to see you guys back here again soon at Rose Lane for the next one that's coming up. Somebody asked me if I would do the piece that I did for Angela, for her, Angela Kerr, for her friendship journal. The whole piece, not just that. What I finally decided to call it was a trifold tuxedo pocket, because nobody knows what to call it, and neither did I. So I finally gave it a name. I'll be doing that piece, but also how I flipped it out and folded it and things like that. So we're going to be working on that. That'll be the next adventure at Rose Lane. So thanks for dropping by. Hope we see you again soon. Be blessed, and I will be back. Bye-bye, everybody.